Hello and welcome to the Philippines. More specifically, welcome to the Makati area of Manila. We are in the Greenbelt Park here, surrounded by nature and metropolitan area. So let's have a quick look about and I'll give you my first impressions of this city. Right in the heart of Makati. There's 5 of them and there's other ones right around the corner as well. There's just that one called Glorietta before I came here, and it's got this lovely park in the middle of it. Not massive, but very, very green, and a lovely little dome-shaped church in the middle of it, which we'll go and have a look at right now. So this dome in front of us is I think Catholic church. It's certainly Christian because there's pictures of Jesus all over it. I'm going to go ahead and assume it's Catholic because I believe that is the predominant religion of the Philippines. And so a little change of pace here. It's been temples for the past 2 years, so bear with me. We're going Christian today and we're going to have a look at the church. There's actually quite a few really interesting churches in this city and I intend on visiting a couple of them. Some really, really old ones, hundreds of years old, and some old Roman Catholic universities also, the oldest one in all of Asia. So I'm going to go and visit that on foot tomorrow. And as you can see, this is a nice little sort of semi-outdoor church. So Google says that there's a big old lake surrounding the church, but this is the first sign of any water I've seen. A few fishies having a swim there. Quite a few, bloody hell, look at the size of him. He could do with a bit of a bigger swimming pool, couldn't he? I wonder if these are all attached. Doesn't seem to be any fishes in this part, or any fish I should say. Although there was more than one species, so you could say fishes, couldn't you? Learned that from Neil Tyson deGrasse. I believe that's how you say his name. More than one fish is still fish, but if you have more than one species of fish, they become fishes. So there you go. Don't say you never learn anything on this channel. So I'm taking a stroll now from the Greenbelt, about 5-6 minutes up the road, to another park called the Ayala Triangle Park. Just thought I'd just show you this busy crossroads here. I mean, in many ways this could be Bangkok. It is quite similar in some ways. Well, it is a city, and I suppose all cities sort of have similarities. But I am getting, well, I'm getting Bangkok vibes, I'm getting Sydney vibes, getting Kuala Lumpur vibes. I've not yet got a Manila vibe, if that makes sense. Now, I haven't been to the Old Town yet, which is where I think I'm going to really enjoy. But this part of the town, it's nice, but I'm not a city man and I never have been. All the beeping horns and that, it does my head in. So they're still pretty paranoid about COVID here, that's one thing you need to know. So everyone speaks better English, that's the first thing you're going to notice. They do have their own language, but they do speak English here. They're also really, really friendly. When you go in anywhere, hello sir, hello madam, better customer service. I'm trying to think what else is different. Police, there's police all over the place and security guards pretty much at every red light, directing traffic and that. Also really friendly, just say hello to you and start a little chat with you. I thought I was in trouble at first. I was jaywalking right after I got here. I don't wait for the green man personally, I know how to cross the road. And then you give it the old, and I thought, oh great, I'm getting fined here. But it was sound, he just had a little chat and said, no, you've got to go that way. And so anyway, I've spoken to 3 or 4 police since I got here and they were all equally friendly and nice. So this is a bit of a smaller park. Not a huge amount to it by the looks of things, but I love coming to parks in cities. My favourite cities are Sydney and London, and in both of them I've got great parks, especially London I think. London, no shortage of parks in London, but the Botanic Gardens and that in Sydney, amazing. But I do always like when we keep patches of nature, even when we're in you know, concrete jungles. Look at this one, it's a beast. Oh, it's a beast, I love it. Well, I went out for a walk last night and look, I don't live in Bangkok, so I don't see homelessness. I know it is an issue there as well, but homeless people, beggars, stuff like that, quite a lot of it. The journey here, tons of beggars and people knocking on the taxi window and that, people with their kids and stuff. But now that we're here, very nice sort of area. There's a couple of casinos near here that I'm thinking of going to do a little bit of gambling in. Seen a few birds that were hanging around on the street as well, but again, it's not like you don't see that in Thailand in certain areas. It's more expensive there. Again, I don't live in Bangkok, so I can't say for sure if it's a lot more expensive than Bangkok, but it's a lot more expensive than Samui, and I thought Samui was about as expensive as it got in terms of Thailand. So it's expensive, yeah. Let's see when I leave the city, is it a bit cheaper? I assume it will be. I'll show you our accommodation later, but it's about 1,100, 1,200 a night I think I'm paying. Nice view, small room, not bad, but probably 700-800 baht in Thailand. I'm not sure I actually agree with what I said there, and now that I've been here for 9 days, it swings and roundabouts. Some things are more expensive, some things are cheaper. It's not as expensive as I first thought. When you first go anywhere, you make a lot of mistakes, but now that I've shopped about a bit and found a few bargains and stuff, it's probably not all that much more expensive than Thailand. It might actually be cheaper in some regards, but some things are more expensive, so swings and roundabouts, like I say. Tried to rent a motorbike this morning and was told that that is not normal in Manila. That's not how people get about. I would prefer to just drive myself from place to place. Another thing to notice or take note of is that the taxis from the airport are super expensive. So I did actually finish that video the other day, but the microphone was acting up and it got all choppy and then stopped working altogether, and so I've decided to just re-record that bit. So when I left the airport, we got into a taxi and 2,150 pesos it cost. It was like a 15-minute ride. That's about 1,500 baht, something like that. So it was very expensive. So I said to him, are all the taxis here so expensive? And he said, no, it's because you got in at the airport. Right now, because of COVID, they've stopped all outside taxis coming in. There's only one company that can come to the airport in Manila. So obviously they've jacked up the price, haven't they? A private company, basically. So he said that normally a taxi would be about half this or even less. So I've been in a few taxis since I got here and they are cheaper, but same as in Thailand, basically. They don't want to put on the meter and they get you in and they start driving, and then you're like, well, hang on, put the meter on, and then they just start saying a price and you've got to negotiate down while they're driving, sort of thing. Not really my style of doing things. I just like to know what the price is, and if I'm happy with it, I'll pay or whatever. That said, some of them have been really nice. There's a lot of the taxi drivers I've met have actually been pretty sound. Got a taxi twice at Robinson's place, and both times they put the meter on, and I've been using the Grab app on my phone. Really reliable. They come within a couple of minutes. Whatever the meter says when you get there, they add 79 pesos booking fee on top. It's still pretty reasonable. The taxis here aren't expensive, but they do their job, and I've been keeping an eye on Google Maps as well, and they do generally take you the quickest possible way instead of going all the way around the world to try and build the meter up. So the taxi drivers are actually all right, I think. Lots of sort of American institutions here. I saw Wendy's and that, stuff that isn't in Thailand. I'm having my breakfast in Denny's today. Hash browns, bacon, eggs, toast and tea. There's been a big storm here the past few days. It's the 16th tropical storm this year that they've had in Philippines. It was the 4th in October alone. Down south, things got really bad, and 72 people died on like the first day or second day that I was here. Really sad. So sort of like, I guess, a day of like national tragedy or whatever. But last night was Saturday night, and I headed into what should have been the main part of town. And pardon? It's just me, record myself.
No, it's not allowed.
Not allowed? Okay, no problem. Alright, I got told off there for recording in a, I guess you're not allowed in this space. I was also told that in a park, the second park I went to earlier in this video, I was also told to stop recording. Although when he saw I was recording myself, he didn't mind. This guy said no, and he had a gun like that big, so I was like, no worries. The sound though, like I said already, all these security guards and that, they're well equipped. I suppose you've got two ways of looking at it, right? A place where a security guard needs to be walking around with a gun like that might make you feel unsafe, and then it might make you feel extra safe. On the one hand, you think, if that's necessary, this must be a dangerous place, but then on the other hand, you think, who's going to mess about when everyone's walking around with guns? So, depends on your mentality. I obviously prefer if you don't need to see the police. Like, for example, in Samui, you really don't see them, but I don't have a problem with the police at all if they're necessary. And like I say, around here, they're really friendly in that, and if there is a high crime rate here, then it's probably for the best, isn't it? This is about 4.4 kilometres, I say about, that was pretty accurate, wasn't it? About 4.5 kilometres from where I'm staying, and to drive from my place to here in the taxi, we went through a few neighbourhoods that could only be described as very, very poor. Now, I didn't see anything illegal going on or anyone being held up or anything dodgy or anything, but it was a very, very poor area. So I don't know, it's worth mentioning, I think. Surprising lack of, well, maybe because of the COVID restrictions that still exist here, but there's been not that many foreigners, to be honest. All the tourists seem to be Filipino tourists, where people are like, you know, a foreigner. Lots of people very keen to go hello, hello when you walk past and that. And as I said before, very, very, very friendly people here in the Philippines, well, in Manila. And normally you would expect the capital city to be the least friendly place. So definitely a big positive, the friendliness of the locals. Public transport in this city is not great. Doesn't seem to be a decent bus service. They've got a lot of these like tuk-tuk type things, sort of like a songtail. They're everywhere, but if you don't know where they're going, it's kind of like if you've ever been to Pattaya, the songtails, they follow a particular route. So if you know where you're going, you get on them, they're cheap as chips. But if you don't know where you're going, you don't know if you're getting on the right one or not. So I've avoided them. There's no BTS or SkyTrain or Underground or monorail or anything that I've seen. So the traffic's really bad. Everyone's getting about by car, and it is quite bad. Quite a nice sort of middle class park, this one. Lots of dogs, eh? It's actually something I've noticed they don't have here that very different to Thailand, is that there's no strays and that walking about. Well, look, I've literally seen one or two. Very, very few strays walking about. Nice, eh? So this is right round the corner from the Thai embassy, which might as well be my hotel, the amount of time I've spent in there. So those are my first impressions of the city. Mixed, it's a mixed bag. It's like going anywhere new. I've said before in videos, I don't like to do a lot of research before I go somewhere. There's other things I research to death, but holidays I don't. And there's good and bad in that. I never know what to expect. I don't know what's around the corner, but at the same time I make a lot of mistakes, and I've definitely made a few mistakes since I came here already. So let's see how the holiday develops. I've got a nice day planned now. I'm going to walk about 10 or 11k and go to quite a few interesting places. So those are the follow-up videos if all goes well. I'm about 3 days off schedule because of the bad weather. So tomorrow I'm supposed to be heading out of the city, but I'm not sure if I've really done everything I want to do. So let's see, and I'm running out of time.